One of the biggest questions and comments that I get asked in emails every day is about discipline. I get so many teachers writing in saying, you know, these little kids, they just run around crazy and won't listen, or these adults not motivated to do anything, or these teenagers are just so sulky and won't do anything. And very often the key to solving these is just that you need some sort of discipline techniques. And as a teacher, it's always worthwhile having a roster, a selection of discipline techniques that you can use throughout the year, and then you can implement them as situations change, or as maybe kids get used to some of the other ones, or in different classes where you have different needs and different things that crop up. So in this section here, I'm going to go through some of my favorite discipline techniques. And some of them have been learned from business workshops, some of them have been learned from regular teachers, some of them have been learned, for example, when I was doing workshops with the American State Department, and the teachers there who were been teaching in some of the hardest schools in the Bronx, and they were saying, this is what you need to do. So, and actually today, the first one, this is one of those techniques that was taught to me by one of those teachers. And they're saying if you're in the toughest schools, you need to do this, whatever. And then personally, from my own experience, even when I'm teaching adults and teachers, if I don't do this, everything collapses. So it's a really, really important step. And I call it the agreement. And what it basically does is it sets out the expectations from both sides, from the kids or the students and the teacher, as to what is expected of each other during class, both in how we work, how we'll teach, and also in the attitudes of both parties. Now, some teachers go quite detailed into this and they make really quite a lot of different rules, but basically the idea is you have a discussion with the kids in the beginning, or usually you just tell them in the beginning and then it becomes a little bit of discussion if they sort of disagree with you. Usually the littler kids are fine with this, and the older kids that might disagree a bit. So basically you just say to the kids, okay, this is the agreement for today, this is what we're going to do throughout this course. I'm here 100% for you guys. I'm going to give you everything I've got to make this year the best year of learning for what you're going to do. You're going to absolutely love it. And that's my promise that I'm going to make you now. And then to make it really work, the promise you're going to make me is number one, ba-ba-da-ba-da, number two, ba-ba-da-ba-da, number three, ba-ba-da-ba-da. Now, as I say, lots of teachers have different rules, but usually I just boil it down to two, actually. Because obviously with language, I want to keep it nice and simple as well. And also two rules, I think, for me, sounds good. So the two rules I have are, number one, respect everyone. And that's a real catch-all thing. So that means, if kids are talking when they shouldn't be in the future, or if they're insulting their friends, or they're fighting, I can always bring it back and say, just a minute, the agreement, respect everyone. We all agreed it in the beginning, you agreed it. And they go, oh, yeah, I did, yeah, okay. And this is the thing, the kids have got to know where the boundaries are, and for any students, adults as well, they've got to know where the boundaries are. If they don't know where the boundary is, they'll just keep pushing all over the place. It's like 2-year-old kids, they just go crazy because they don't know what the boundaries are, what they're allowed to, what they're not allowed to do. Am I allowed to eat the TV? Am I allowed to punch the dog? Whatever it is, And it's the same in your class. The kids will have lots of different teachers with lots of different rules. They don't know your rules. And they don't know what you're going to let them get away with. And remember, their job is to push right up to the boundaries and then see how far you go, then how strict you are. And if you're a wussy teacher and you just go, oh, I don't care, it's going to be chaos. But you're a strong teacher, you set out your boundaries beforehand, and when the kids come up to them, you go, that's not on, is it? These are our rules, it's what we're sticking by. And if you can do that, that's how you keep the class under control, and then that's how you can set them free to do funky, cool activities, talk and think amongst themselves, and do all the really cool stuff that they have to do. So number one rule that I have is, number one is respect everybody. And then the second one I have is ask when you don't know. And actually make that a rule of the classroom. So that if somebody doesn't know something and they don't ask me, whoa, we're all in trouble. Yeah, and sometimes, when I'm doing workshops, teachers will be very much like, yes, yes, yes. So I'll just change it to French, and I'll just go, and I'll say something, and then I'll go, did you understand that? And they went, yes. I'm like, really? And they go, oh, no. But it's just setting up this expectation that in my class, if you don't understand, you ask me. And for you guys as well watching this, I want you to do the same thing. So those are my 2 rules. Respect everybody and ask when you don't know. And of course, it's up to you. If you want to make other rules, you can do. But try and keep them as short and as sweet as you can. The best teachers have boiled these down over the years to maybe 2 or 3 different rules that they have for their classrooms. But definitely do it. If you haven't done it already, do it at the beginning of the next class. It's worthwhile doing. Oh yeah, and if you do have cheeky teenagers, and they say, "Oh, I'm not doing that," you say, "Okay, what do you want to do in class? What were you here for?" And they'll say, "Oh, we just want to sleep." And they're going, "Really? So do you think that's going to be good?" And you can go into a discussion with them. Eventually, you'll get the smart kid, you get the cool kid, and you'll get them around, and they'll say, "Okay, in your class we won't sleep. We'll actually do this work." And we're like, "Okay, that's good. Let's work together and go like that." And then, of course, you also do need punishments and things if they break the rules. So make sure you've got those in place, but always keep them, like sort of mysterious and you don't even want to think about going there. But we'll come and talk about those things in the future. But for now, the agreement is what you need to get started. Cool. See you in the next video. Now this next discipline tip is probably the most useful one. Certainly when I'm doing workshops and things, it's the most popular amongst teachers. And it's a very simple one again. So, when you have the classroom and you have the teacher at the front, usually in the beginning, and then you usually have the good kids at the front, just in front of the teacher. And then where do the bad kids, I don't like to call them bad kids, but where do the kids who are probably a little more mischievous, where do they go and sit? Yeah, so they go and sit right at the back of the classroom. Now the question is, why is it that they go to the back? Why do they go to the back of the classroom? Are there free gummy bears on tap? Is there the massage chairs that they can relax in? What do you think the reason is? Yeah, the reason is very simple. It's because it's the furthest away from the teacher. And the further away they are from the teacher, then the more they feel they can get away with being naughty, or not doing as they're told or whatever. So, and it's called the proximity effect. Is if it's a long way away, there's not much proximity, so they feel they can get away with stuff. So the very easiest, simplest discipline technique you can use is simply to stand up. Just stand up, and I can't do it now on camera, but stand up and just, as you're teaching and as you're doing, just walk and gently walk towards the kids. And you don't even have to say anything to them. You don't even have to look at them. If you're just doing your normal bit of teaching, whatever you're doing, but just walk slowly towards the back of the class, as you get closer to the kids, naturally they will start to shut down. And the reason they do that is because they don't want to get picked, they don't want to be in trouble, they don't want to get the teacher's eye contact, so they naturally go back to what they're going to do. And this is a really, really powerful trick. Now, a lot of teachers think, oh, it won't work, and they don't try it, and they just stand at the front, and they just start getting more annoyed, and you at the back, and just shut up, and go. That never works. Gently, slowly, as you're doing your lesson, walk up to the kids at the back, and they'll calm down. Try it, I promise you, it is like magic. One of the cool things about it is that very often the kids are always together, or the ones who are naughty, so you can stand by them all in one go. And then as they calm down, you move away again. And what you're doing is you're subtly training them, I suppose. We shouldn't really use these sort of terms, but basically it is. You're training them that if they behave well, then the teacher will move away and let them get on with things. Whereas if they're behaving badly, the teacher will come up and start cramping their style by standing next to them. So that's a really, really powerful, it's probably the most powerful technique you can use. And if you look, all really great teachers use that. They never stand just at the front. They're always wandering around the classroom and using the proximity, how near you are to the students, as a really, really important tool in keeping the kids under control. So give that a chance in your next class. Think about where you're standing. Are you always at the front? Are you always at the back? Are you always in one place? And think about how you can move around nice and slowly with confidence so that the kids naturally start falling in place and you end up with a much, much smoother classroom. Cool, so far we've done 2 discipline techniques. We've done the agreement, which you do at the beginning of the course, or tomorrow if you've not done it yet in your classes. And then proximity effect, where you wander around the classroom and use your proximity to calm the kids down who would otherwise be misbehaving. To be honest, a lot of teachers, and many very successful teachers, only need those two techniques. Just those two techniques can make the difference between total chaos and a totally under control classroom. So really practice them and make sure you've got them down and so you can use them and really control your classes. And then what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to show you a few more. We've got some for crazy emergency situations. Excuse me. And then we've got this one here, which is a little bit different to what you might not have thought of something like this before. But it's a very interesting step if you want to really level up your kids and the atmosphere of your classroom. And I call it to get perfect angels. And basically what it is with anything in life, whether you're talking about getting good students or a good spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, kids, whatever it is, one really great technique is to think and really describe and see in your mind your ideal student, parent, kid, spouse, whatever it is. And so if we're talking about students now, you want to really describe what would your ideal student be like? How would they behave? How would they act in class? What sort of questions would they ask? How would they act to each other? And how would they maybe dress? How would they react when you gave them a bad mark? How would they react when you gave them a good mark? So really thinking about, what would be my ideal student is a really, really fantastic exercise. Because, the whole point of discipline is to get all the kids to be your ideal students, to get them amazing learners and all this sort of stuff. But if you don't know where you're going, if you're going round and round and round, 5 years' time, you're still in the same place. But if you think, no, I want kids like this is what my class to be like, you go, boom, you go straight there. So in this exercise, the first part of it is to think and really write down and take the time in the comments to write down exactly what you want your ideal student to be like. Okay, write down as much detail as you can. The attitudes and how they think and when they ask questions and all the stuff I said before. Give me a few minutes, write it down, and then we'll come back in the next lesson in this module and you'll see how we can use it to make a profound change to your classroom. Cool. I hope you made that list there. And make that list before you do this video, because this is a teacher training academy. I want you to go through step by step by step, and that's how we build up and make your teaching really cool. If you sort of miss steps out, it'll all fall over and won't work. So if you haven't done it, go back to the previous one and write down your description of your ideal student. Now comes the magic. So why do we need this? Why do we need to really think about it? Well, the reason we need it is because now, what I want you to do is, I want you to think, okay, now, if I were that imaginary student, that perfect student, what sort of teacher would I want? So what sort of teacher does that angelic, perfect student want? And then your challenge now is to become that teacher. Now, can you see how powerful that is? So maybe before you've been thinking just like for this way, I want them to be like this, I want them to be like this, I want them to be like this, and you've ended up with students who are maybe not like that, they're like this. Because you've been the teacher that those students want, and that changes your behavior and changes your attitude. But now what we're going to do is you're going to think about your ideal students, your ideal class, and you're going to try and become, you're going to try everything you can to change into being the sort of teacher that will attract children and students like that. If you're going to attract students like that, then those students will start responding to you, and they will change, and they will become, suddenly out of them will become these little angels, and all kids want to learn, all kids want to look up to somebody, all kids want these skills. But they just have to get the right sort of teacher to do it, and you have to become the right sort of teacher. And once you practice this skill, you can use it in anywhere in your life. You can use it with your boyfriend or girlfriend, think, I want the ideal girlfriend's like this, so what sort of boyfriend do I have to become? Or with your parents, or with your kids, I'd like my kids to act like this, therefore what sort of parent would I have to become in order to get them to do that? And that type of psychological thinking about it and planning out and thinking, how can I be the person that person would want? That's how you improve, and that's how you get the class of total perfect angels. It's amazing. It's totally magic. It's a little bit woo-woo, but it works. Give it a try. And today, the homework for this bit, the last time you wrote down what you want the perfect students to be, your homework now is, okay, write down now what sort of teacher you have to become in order to attract those amazing students. Good luck with it. Cool. I hope you liked the last one there. Finding out what your perfect student is, and then how do you have to change to become the teacher that student wants. That's cool. This next one, while I've got the picture up here of the little angel, this is an emergency technique. Whoa, I need some flashy graphics, don't I? So, this is a technique that if you're ever sent into a classroom where you are absolutely terrified, this is the technique you use. You walk in there, particularly in high school or whatever, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, look, I'm scared. You can use this technique. Actually, a few years ago, when I was doing my workshops in Milan, I was teaching this, and then that evening I missed my train, and at 1 a.m. I was in Milan station, looking around thinking, whoa, this is a bit scary. If you ever find yourself in that sort of situation, this is a really quick technique you can do. This is called angel wings. Obviously, discipline seems to revolve a lot around angels for some reason. But this is called angel wings. So what it basically says is that when you look at that classroom and you've got these hard teenagers with leather jackets and the knives, well, if they've got knives, it's probably different. But they've got the hardcore sort of teenagers who are not going to do anything, or the scary people on the subway, whatever it is. I want you to imagine those people having angel wings coming out of their back. Just imagine it. So imagine now, just think about the roughest class you can imagine with the hardest possible kids, and they're all like, "Rrr." And now see that same class all with angel wings coming out of their backs. It's amazing, isn't it? Just how your whole thought process and your whole reaction to them changes just from that one little imaginary thing. Obviously they're not going to grow these wings, it's just in your head. You just imagine them like that, yeah? So if you find yourself in that sort of situation, that's what I definitely recommend you doing. Now, sometimes it takes a bit of practice. So what I would recommend in that case is just wander around town today, or even watching this video. Now, don't do it with me. No. Look around the room where you are now. And when you're wandering around town, just look around the room and imagine everybody else in the room has got dude, I'm wearing this t-shirt, aren't I? But yeah, with the wings on. But imagine everybody around you now has got angel wings coming out of their backs. You look at everybody you see. You look out the window and you see the people crossing the street. You see them all with angel wings coming out of their backs. And just because your mind starts seeing them like that, your subconscious mind starts playing tricks on you, and you start reacting to them and acting towards them as if they are really angels. It's a very, very powerful technique, and some of the most successful people in the world who are doing amazing things in the world, this is what they do. Whenever they see someone, they always see the positive, and they see that person as someone who can help them in the future and someone who they can help. They don't have these barriers of being scared. They always say, okay, no, I can see the angel wings coming out of the back of that person. Let's go and try and see how we go. And you know what? Even the hardest, coolest kid has got something wrong with them. Probably more than most kids. And if you can take the effort to just approach them on a level that's of respect and of saying, I can see the good in you. I can see it straight away now. That's maybe something that no one has ever done for them before. And you can be the first person to sort of open that up and unlock that for them. It doesn't work all the time, but even if it doesn't, for your own mentality, for your own keeping sane, it's a great picture to have in your mind of them all with angel wings. So you've got a classroom full of angels. And of course you do the previous exercise to make sure they really are angels, but this is one that you can use when you've got that really, really tough class and you're not entirely sure what to do. Give it a try. It'll make you smile, promise you. And it'll make a huge, huge difference to your classes. Cool. See you in the next video. Okay, I hope you like the last ones. Now we're a little bit back to sort of normal classroom situations now, and we've got this technique that I call the helper. And so this is for when you have a class and you have one or maybe two badly behaved kids. This particular technique doesn't work when you've got lots of badly behaved kids. You need the previous ones for that. This is for one or two. And the key is that you just want to keep them close. So what you do is, there are various different reasons why kids act up in class. Very often it's because they already know it. It's too boring and it's too easy for them. And they want a bit more of a challenge. Or sometimes it's because they don't understand. Actually, most of the time it's because they don't understand. If you notice all the class, going off at a tangent here, but if you notice all the class not paying attention or being crazy, it's because they don't understand either the English you're using or what you're expecting them to do in the activity. So yeah, so work on that understanding if it's the whole class. But if it's just one kid, make them the helper. So basically they come up to you and they're the ones who hand out the worksheets, or they're the one that helps demo the game, or they're the one that helps you choose, ooh, who do you think got the best one out of that? Just let them come up to the front, or even just sat in their seat so you can just look over to them and just go, yeah, what do you think? Yeah, just so you can get this eye contact. And eventually you'll get it so you can just give them a bit of eye contact, and that just brings them back in because they think they're helping you and they can go, yeah, no, whatever. And that can really give them ownership of the lesson and make them part of it, and it can make a big difference. Make sure you don't reward bad behavior as such. You be careful where you use this technique. The first two techniques we did, you use them all the time. This one, it's a little extra tool in your armory that you can use when you just have one or two kids who might need it. One that's slightly related thing to this is, if you have a kid who is really intelligent and always knows the answers, then you just go up to them and say, cool, I know you know the answers, so what I'm going to do from now on is, instead of you answering, I'm just going to look over to you. If you know the answer, just nod your head, okay? And then that kid, then they're not always putting their hand up and making the other kids resent them and stuff, but you can just look over and they go, and then you go and ask the rest of the class if anybody knows it. And then of course, really, when they do that, then when they don't know, if they go, then you know you've got a problem in the class, because if that bright kid doesn't know, then probably no one else does as well. And you might have to go back to your point and review it. Hey, so there we go. We've got two little bonus ones there. The helper and the little nod for the kid who knows everything. Cool. Catch you in the next one. Cool, so this next technique is something to use if you're in a game, you're doing a classroom game and it's going all to chaos and you just don't know what's going on. And this is just basically shut it down. If it's all chaos and the kids are not knowing what's going on, they're running around, it's all and they're not really speaking, which is the main aim of it, don't be afraid to just shut it down and just say, okay, that's it, cool, we're finished. That's not good enough, is it? And then they're like, whoa, what do you mean? We just shut the game down, hey, and they don't know what's going on. And then, as I say, you can then choose how you want to handle that then. So one of the things I would do is, if I knew the kids knew the English and I knew they could do it, but they were just messing around, I would lay a guilt trip on them. And a lot of teachers say this is really bad, but it's up to you. And I would say to them, seriously? Is that your guys' level? Is that how we do things in this class? And they go, no, it's not, is it? Right, so we're going to try it again. Or maybe you can't try it again. I don't know. What do you reckon? And then you just get that balance of just trying to motivate them back up. But what you find is that once you shut it down once, then they do get a lot more receptive and they start actually doing what they're supposed to do in the game, which is speaking the English. If you don't shut it down, it will spread. And you'll be spending 20 minutes of each lesson just going, wow, which is a complete waste of time. So, that's this one. Shut it down. If they're playing the game and it's going crazy, just shut it down. No problem. Easy. Okay, now this one is one of the techniques you can use for maybe when your class is a little bit too hyperactive and a little bit too over the top. Now, one thing that I usually see, I see a lot of with teachers, and I think you'll see this in the coaching program when teachers send their videos in, is a lot of the times the kids are too hyperactive and they're always fidgeting, they're leaning back and they're going, and they're playing with toys and going, yeah, what's this? And, You know, and it's very, very difficult to try and to actually teach in that sort of atmosphere. So that's why I always recommend in doing the Genki English warm-ups at the beginning of each lesson. So in every lesson we do a physical warm-up, which is a warm-up and a review of the previous lessons. You know, so we start off stand up and sit down and clapping and cheer and what's your name and how are you and I'm blah 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 blah, and it's done, it's nice and fast and it's physical. I always put a few jumps in there. By the end of it, the kids go, okay, whew, okay, right, and they're nicely then settle down, and you can settle into today's lesson, which is great. But then sometimes partway through the lesson they might start getting a little bit more you know, noisy or a little bit out of control and stuff. Or particularly if you've done a really great game and they've nailed the English straight away but they still want to keep playing the game. We don't have the luxury of doing that because, you know, if they've got the English, we want to move on. So we have to stop the game there. And one great technique I use for this is called Genki. So all it means is you do it standing up and sitting down in a normal voice, and then you say sit down and then you say good night, good night, and you get them all to go to sleep, and then you say good morning, and they wake up and go good morning, and you say stand up and they stand up quietly, and then jump, and then how are you? And then asking different questions in really quiet voices. And then you tell them good night. And then you go, good morning! And then all of a sudden they're like, ooh, it's like doing a meditation session. It just brings their focus and attention back. I'm going to show you a little video of this in a real classroom in a little bit. But just keep it in mind, it's a really great technique for, you know, bringing things back round again. It is actually really cool, as I say. If you've got something serious to talk about or something a little bit more complicated, you want to bring their focus back, just do it in the middle of class, just quiet it down. And at the end of it, you've got two options. You can either do what I just did then, which is just good night, and then you go good morning, and that leads you into stuff. Or if you want to be totally crazy and you can control the craziness, you go, good night. And then you say, good morning! And they go, yay! And they're a little bit hyper, but then they calm down quickly. But usually I just go for the normal voice one, and it works really well. So that's Genki Shh! Check it out with the kids in this video. Yay! That's just 5 minutes and you're already tired. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Stand up. Stand up. Sit down. Good night. Good night. Okay, very good.
1,
1,
2,
2,
3.
Hi guys, so we're here in Cyprus today. It's 10 to 4 in the afternoon, so everyone is really tired. We've just gone through phonics. They've done really well. They've done well on everything else, on all the business stuff and everything. They're really tired, but we're going to just show you guys some of the discipline techniques, how it works in real action. So the first one, the very simplest one, is just doing the standing up and sitting down. Make sure they all do it nice and quickly, even though it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon with no aircon. So everybody stand up.
stand up,
Make sure you get big voices. Sit down.
sit down,
3, 2, 1. Sit down.
sit down,
Making mistakes is fine. Okay. The next one is this one where you're going to be talking to your partner. So I'm just going to get them to do a random thing talking about last night's television or something. Talk to your partner about what you did yesterday. Go.
I want to
Okay, this is just to get them noisy, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them back. Class,
Yes,
Silence. Very good, isn't it? So I use the class yes word, and you teach it like this. You just go, class.
Yes.
Class.
Yes.
Let's go, class.
Yes, yes, yes.
Very good. That's from the Power Teaching. So look at Power Teaching on YouTube. You can check that out. Now, sometimes when they're being too noisy, I want to bring them back, and I can use the clap for that. So talk to your person next to you about what you want for Christmas. So I'm just making them noisy again. Of course, your kids will be playing a game or doing whatever. I'm going to do clap now to bring them back. Lift my arm up. Lift my volume control. Get them quiet. They've not been that quiet all day. It's fantastic. Very good. One more thing now is if they see my hand in the air, well, they're far too slow. If they see my hand in the air, they have to put their hand in the air and be quiet, okay? So you need to train them to do it really fast. 0 tolerance. Everyone has to do it. Down there. Okay. Okay. Talk to the person next to you about what you liked about this weekend. So I'm just going to make them noisy again. Hopefully, you've got them trained well enough. They're a little bit tired now, but you've worked with your kids to get them to do it straight away. Wow, okay, that was pretty cool. You get them to tap on the shoulder if somebody's not doing it. So if she's got her arm down, we see her with her arm down, we just tap her on the shoulder and she puts her arm up. That's very good. Okay, one more technique is going to be a countdown. Whenever they hear me do a countdown in an activity, they know they have to join in. So I go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Class?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get them noisy again. Talk to the person next to you about what you would do if you had the best school in Cyprus. Talk to them. Okay, so make obviously either pair work to get practice in the pair work, or to just in a game or something like that. Countdown. That's it. 10, 9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Class?
Yes.
Okay, very good. That was about all we did, wasn't it? It was very good. Okay, round of applause, thank you. Okay, so we're back here with the teachers in Cyprus. We haven't done this yet. I'm going to show them a few techniques from the Life Keto book. These are fantastic ones. I'm probably doing them wrong, but this is how I tend to do them. So we have this thing in called the body, breathing and brain check-ins, okay? So the first thing we do is just check in on your body. So I'm going to check in on your body. How does it feel? Does it feel good? Yeah, all the way down. Feel all your body. Check it out. You can do meditation here if you wanted. You can do Genki relax, whatever it is. It's pretty cool. So let me have a look. And the next thing, let's jump back there. The next thing is, in this book, they have this thing called confidence levels. We've been talking a lot about confidence. Genki English is all about confidence. We have 3 different types of confidence here. I don't want you to be like ice. So some people are like ice, and they're very brittle, and they're very, and they're going to shatter. And I think all the girls this morning, they were all feeling like that about their business side of things. So everybody be like ice. How does that? It's not very good, yeah? Or some people, like 5 minutes ago, are like puddles. Do you understand the word puddle?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a small little piece of water. So some of you are like this, being all teenagery and like puddles. Be like a puddle?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Not good.
It's not good, is it? So, don't be ice, don't be a puddle, I want you to be a river. So all of you imagine a powerful river flowing through you. You're stood in the river, there's got beautiful cooling waters rushing through you, and how does that feel? So you just stand like you've got a river going through you, and that's the stance. Not ice, not puddle, but river. The next one is going to be, so let's just jump back one. I'm just going to jump back to the breathing one. 2 different types of breathing. If the kids are getting too stressed out, nobody's been really stressed here, you can do a thing called ninja breathing. Ninja breathing is just soft, slow breathing. So if you need people too hyped up, too stressed about something, do ninja breathing. It slows them all down. Or an alternative to that is fire breathing. This is if you need to energize breathing, you can do fire breathing. Fire breathing is very simple. You just go.
Okay.
3, 4. And then just gets lots of different energy and breath into your body. One other thing with this is brain. So let's do a brain check. So with your brain, just check where your ears are listening to and just check where your eyes are going. So obviously it's 10 minutes before the end. We've got a few girls trying to check their cell phones. So just be conscious of where you're looking. Think about where you're looking now and think of what you're listening to. You don't have to stare at me, just be conscious of it. Just know what you're doing. So those are the check-ins. Body check-in. The body check-in, it's good. Breathing, a bit of ninja breathing. Bit of fire breathing. This is so good. And brain check-in. Where are your ears and your eyes? Check in. Good. Let's go back to confidence. One. Be like ice. Okay, be like a puddle. Or be like a river. Yeah, good. And then a couple of other things from the book as well. A-B formula. If we have a problem, whatever's going on, first of all, acknowledge there's a problem. Say, okay, this is a problem I've got. Boom. Don't say, it's impossible, we can't do it in Cyprus, it's so small. Like they were all doing yesterday. Just acknowledge there's a problem, and then baby steps, small steps to fix it. I've given you so much information this weekend. You guys in the video got so much information in this course. It's going to blow your brains. But what you basically need to do is you just need to take it one step, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. If you go one step each day, you'll get better and better and better. And then finally, we're talking about communication skills. Empathy is a great thing from this book. Always think about my shoes, your shoes, our shoes. A bit of a tongue twister for you. If you've got a conflict going on, if you're talking about parents, if you're talking about kids, always think first of all, my shoes, what's my problem with it? I've got these parents who are doing this, what do I do? I've got these kids who are doing this, what's my problem? And then think about it in your shoes, so the opposite person's shoes. If you're in the kids' shoes, how do they feel? How are they seeing this problem? How are they looking at you? Again, think about that. And then finally, always think about our shoes. We're in the same shoes together, bit of phonics here. Same shoes together, how can we solve the problem if we're both in the same set of shoes? That's an important thing. So that's just a little bit of extra stuff from the Life Keto book, which is an awesome book. It's written by a friend of mine, I certainly recommend it. But let's give a nice round of applause for all the teachers in Cyprus.